Hi, good afternoon. This is Meredith Lego, and I am doing a whole series of videos on Ascension science and the mechanics of Ascension of our consciousness and how we can continue to evolve really our consciousness, as souls, as beings over time. And in a lot of the content basically that I get is coming through channeling that I've been able to do with multidimensional beings. The I would say largest percentage of the sourced material is coming from an ascended master named Hilarion, but I have been able to tune into other beings at other frequencies, such as the Pleiadians and a collective consciousness is kind of what they refer to them. And I've also heard from another group called Guardians. So in a lot of the content, if you're new to this channel, obviously has been covering a host of different topics from the quantum field, how that works, a little bit about how it is that we were able to perceive our world within a holographic construct, how that works, and then gets into the extreme importance of once you know that information, how to leverage that in order to essentially heal yourself, but also kind of manifest the type of reality that you really want to create for yourself. And in this particular video, it's going to touch upon a theme of healing, which is about 95% of really what we need to be working on right now as a species, which is healing our DNA, healing the ability for our multiple bodies, our physical, our mental, and our emotional, to essentially, allow our etheric body and then for physical body to accrete more light. So that's really the job that's at hand right now for many of us in this kind of timeline or time-space vector. And it's a timely topic because I would say, a huge theme of the last few videos that I've done has been on how to stop the reincarnational process, specifically on Earth. And again, the healing theme comes up very strong as being like the way to do that. Now, there was one video that I did. I've done a couple on them that touch upon the theme of healing, and I would, if you're new to this channel, I would really encourage you to go to that, because it actually gets into sort of the methods and the how-tos on some approaches for that I've experienced, although I'm sure there's others. So let's get into it. So I believe this information came from Ascended Master Hilarion also. And I wasn't expecting healing to be the theme when I asked the question that kicked this channeling session off. I actually asked, how does time collapse back in on itself? So that was kind of the overriding question. How does time collapse back in on itself? And the answer that I got was, you just shift consciousness. It's really a simple shift of consciousness. so what was kind of interesting, which oddly enough kind of reminds me of a quote that I've heard Buddha say, or come from Buddha. I didn't hear him say it, obviously, but come from Buddha, which is, you have the ability to determine how you want to feel, act, and think. And nobody else can determine that for you. That is only something that is sourced within. So, you could be in a blowout argument with somebody, and you have the ability to simply shift your consciousness in that moment, and you completely change the trajectory of the timeline and your experience of the next moment based upon you taking a shift in consciousness, not the other person, you. So that's basically what they're saying. Or he said, excuse me, in this case it was Ascended Master Hilarion. So then he says, healing collapses timelines by recording or changing the old experience or parallel soul fragments. The healing process starts when you first are triggered emotionally. So I think what he's saying there, okay, the healing process starts when you first are triggered emotionally. So in other words, you get triggered by something, that's a sign, or like the first symptom that something's wrong and you have to work on it. It's almost like your body all of a sudden you've got like a body ache. Your body's going to, it's an enormously intelligent technology, and it's going to tell you something's wrong. You need to focus on it. So that's essentially, I think, the same parallel here. Then he says, it is a feeling that you should pay attention to. So follow your feelings. It is so easy to deflect those feelings by blaming everyone or everything around you as the cause of your suffering. However, those who take ownership for their emotions and seek the root cause can heal themselves, the past, and collapse timelines. This is because consciousness shifts and makes new thoughts and new choices. It's a simple consciousness shift. By doing so, you collapse the field, and here I think he's referencing the source field and the timelines. Actually, before I go and talk about this, I want to read this next paragraph. It's small. Blame and judgment are so easy to dish out. It's a lot harder to take self-accountability for your emotions and do the inner work. But when you do, you provide enormous service to yourself and others. So that, I think, is really the heart of this message, is that all you got to do is just simply shift your consciousness. But essentially, what they're saying is that, like, when you're kind of tuning into your feelings and obviously when you don't feel good, you're looking for how to solve for it. And the easiest thing to do is say, it's their fault that I feel this way. It's, their fault. And again, what they're saying is exactly what I said before, from the Buddha quote, which is, nobody else can cause you to sort of feel something. Feelings are something that only come from within you. So when that happens, yeah, sure, you can blame this person because maybe you're having a, argument and you're not the one that started it. Yeah, that's, but at that time, you can kind of, if you're good, you can take the observer effect or in the moment and say, wait a minute, this is causing me to feel this way. Why am I feeling this way? Yes, this person is yelling at me, but I don't have to feel this way right now. So how can I feel differently? Or maybe, you can't do that because you're in the heat of an argument, but it's a good thing to reflect afterwards and say, okay, so why did I feel that way? Was it because I was taking on the feelings of somebody else and I was tuning into that energy, and that really wasn't my energy, it was their energy. I was just picking up on it and sort of mirroring it back. Or was it because of something that has happened in my past? Or even it could be something that happened in another life that, you don't know what the source is, and you can tune into that. And essentially, sometimes you can get some answers around that if you're really quiet during meditation. Others can use techniques that I've brought up in other videos, like QHHT or quantum hypnosis healing techniques, or there's like a whole plethora of techniques out there that I would encourage you to go down. But that essentially can help. And when you do that, when you kind of understand that root, you have the ability to obviously heal some things that could have been in the past. And I think what they're saying, what he's saying here is essentially is like, okay, you can continue to hold on to that, like that baggage, if you will, of that argument and stew about it. And when you continue to stew about it for 15 days after the argument, you're going to create like a frequency around you that's going to ultimately impact your body and cause your body to resonate at that lower frequency. And maybe 20 years later, you'll look back and you're still going to have bad thoughts about that argument, but that's like in the past. That's not in the now, but you're letting the past dictate the emotions in your body now. So sometimes I've done that where, let's say I can remember an event, of something that happened at work or something that happened with my husband, and I'll think about it and I'll realize I'm tuning into the same emotion that I felt in that moment. And I'm like, but why? There's nothing going on in my now environment that would cause me to feel this emotion. It happened 20 years ago, but I'm still feeling that emotion in my body. So let me go back and let me sort of do the work or some of the techniques to heal that memory. And then by healing that past, I can heal the now, and I'm also healing the past simultaneously. But what's interesting is that when you're really good at doing this and kind of gaining control of observer effect, I guess you could say, and the heat of these situations, it could be any situation, right? It could be any situation. I'm just using an argument with another person as an example. But if you're really good at doing that, you could be like, now wait a minute, I have a different choice that I can make right here. Like, I don't have to let this person cause me to feel the way that I'm feeling, or I don't have to take on the energies that they're projecting towards me. I have a choice. And with that choice, I'm choosing to, think and act this way. And by doing so, you literally collapse the timeline of what could have happened and you create a new timeline. So that's essentially what they're saying. You're putting yourself into a new frame in the movie, if you will, like you're jumping into another movie, essentially. Instead of this movie, you're now on this movie or this path. So that's what they're saying. And I think the other key message in there was taking ownership. So again, nobody else causes you to feel the way that you feel. That is only, emotions only come up from within you. Nobody else. So instead of trying to blame others for your circumstances in life or your emotions, I think what they're saying is, what he's saying is, take ownership for it. It's easy to dish it out. It's easy to blame others, but it is a lot harder to do that inner work and to take self-accountability for your emotions. But when you do, you're going to provide the most benefit to you and others. And I think, although it's not said here, I'm going to kind of, infer that from just past learnings, that when you go through that inner work, or trying to figure out what the root cause of the emotion is and work on healing it, and you just take a different perspective of others in that moment as opposed to blame. Maybe think about it as compassion. When you do that, you're essentially changing your own frequency. And when you change your frequency, usually it's at least, it could be at least the same, if not higher. And, obviously a higher frequency is going to have an effect on others around you, and will cause them usually to resonate at a higher frequency as well, or it can have that effect. So you kind of help the planet, and the collective consciousness in the process. So, again, I thought this was a great video following the last few that I've done on the whole, how to stop reincarnating on Earth. And, hope this continues to add to your library of knowledge. And with that, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in future videos. Bye.